myself. I'm like, well, I haven't been live for a while, so I'll go live today, even though I'm really tired, so I can keep myself awake while I wait for because like it's weird. I got the tickets and there's like a big hour gap. Normally I would have liked to have gone to the movie sooner, but can't can't control everything. Okay, so I'm gonna play the spooky music over here. Okay. All right. So you guys can join me over here on the YouTube side. If not, no worries. I'm just see what I'm reading though. So that's the nice thing. If you are joining me on the YouTube side, I do see. Okay. And open up my comments. And I'm gonna dim the light. I feel like it's a little too bright for my liking in here, and I want it to feel spooky. Okay. Give me a second. There we go. No, I'm actually live on my YouTube channel, Stephanie Strange. So you guys can check me out on there. The stuff is in my bio. Okay, so this question is on Cura. I feel like I always say it wrong. Cura. Okay, so this question is, are all hospitals haunted? And before we even read what they're gonna say, I really do feel like hospitals are haunted. Let me just give me a quick second just to make sure my audio is working. Can you guys hear me on the YouTube side? Okay, hopefully it works. If not, let's check with the audio. Okay, yeah, you guys should be able to hear me. Okay, so it says here, I feel like, exactly. To an extent, I feel like hospitals are kind of haunted. Because if you think about it, it's a place where people are feeling very intense emotions. There's feelings of loss, there's feelings of joy, there's feelings of anxiety, there's feelings of optimism. There's all kinds of feelings that you feel when you're in a hospital. And so it makes sense that in a way there'd be like pockets of energy there. Thank you for the follow. Yes, exactly. So much pain and suffering, Guppy. Okay, so this is what they said. In the late 1990s, I worked as a nurse in an aging Victorian hospital in the heart of New England. Well, there you go. We kind of get where we're going with this, right? The building had its share of winding corridors and creaky floors, but one section always intrigued me and unnerved me: the long forgotten West Wing. Though most of the wing was sealed off for safety reasons, the old children's ward on the top floor remained accessible for storage. One winter night, while working the graveyard shift, an emergency call came through. An infant in the new wing needed a specific piece of vintage medical equipment, known to be stored in the old children's ward. With urgency in the air, I hurriedly made my way to the old West Wing. As I reached the top of the darkened stairwell, I hesitated. The hallway stretched endlessly, dim lit by the moonlight filtering through the broken windows. But as I took my first steps, something incredible happened. A series of lights began flickering to life, one by one. Illuminating my path, the old electric night lights, fashioned like tiny little lighthouses, shouldn't have been operational, and yet they guided me through straight to the equipment I desperately sought. As I returned to the stairwell, clutching the essential equipment, a soft lullaby echoed through the corridor, and a shiver ran down my spine. But it wasn't from fear. Somehow, I felt comforted, as if somebody was watching me. And then you can see the image if you're on the YouTube side, which just reading that and then seeing the image. Oh my God. Hi, dyslexic dog. Then it says, later I discovered that decades ago, a beloved pediatric nurse had worked tirelessly in that ward. Legend said she would sing lullabies to comfort her young charges and was known for her signature lighthouse nightlights. Tragically, she passed away during a winter storm while trying to make her way to the hospital. From that night on, whenever I felt alone or overwhelmed, I would hear a distant lullaby or catch a glimpse of a flickering lighthouse light. It was as if the dedicated nurse was still there, making sure no child or fellow caregiver was left in the dark. Oh my gosh. The creepy singing. But even though, like, okay, imagine though discovering that. Imagine like you're lost. You're in a part of the hospital where it's like closed off, and you hear these like humming sounds. I think whether good intention or not, you would be kind of freaked out. Hi, Kim. You would be kind of freaked out because let's be real, like we operate on anticipating things and knowing what we're doing, but the element of surprise just always freaks us out. You know what I mean? So, I mean, while that was a nice, warm-hearted story, I would still be freaked out. Exactly, Marks. Yeah. Hi, Silverkin. Hi, Kim. Hi, BR. Yeah, it's just I don't know, but I would be creeped out. I would still be like freaking out. I'm giving it an upvote. It's getting an upvote. Let's see what people are saying. Someone said, as we were saying earlier, Guppy, hospitals are a place of grief, death, and suffering. Sometimes the joy of a baby being born, a loved one recovering, and all those emotions, believe it or not, stay within the walls. And someone said, and I kind of like this, they call the hospitals soul stations. So souls check in and departure from the world. Oh, that's interesting. Hospitals are a soul station because get it when babies are being born, they're being brought into the world and departing. That's an interesting take on that. So let's see what else. Sorry, I'm just looking through the comment section. Yeah, I mean, that is sad. That is sad. Okay, I'm gonna go to the ghost Reddit thing, so bear with me. And shout out whoever's on my YouTube live. You are amazing. Thank you. Hospitals scare me. My stories I write are based on that. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much with hospitals. So I was born in the Los Angeles General Hospital. I believe that's what it's just called, just like the Los Angeles General Hospital. And it's a historic building, so you can't tear it down or anything like that. And I remember my sister took me there 2 years ago to see it now as an adult. And it had like this eerie feeling. And the hospital is no longer in use. And I think like only nursing students get to have some access to it. There are people that still work there, but I think they're like in the very first floor. And there's like tunnels in the basement too. And my sister got to see like the tunnels and she said it was like the creepiest thing ever. And when I went outside of the hospital, so here's another thing. If you ever go to like the Los Angeles General Hospital and you just stand outside of it, like at night, the lights, there's lights on almost every level of the building. Well, some of them are off, some of them are on. They're not supposed to be on. And I've seen lights flicker. That's really eerie. The hospital is Silent Hill. The hospital in Silent Hill video is, yes, it is. It really is. Oh my gosh, yes. Top eeriest things. Kepi says he'd hear whistling behind him as he would leave for the day. It actually comforted him. Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's just such interesting things. Okay, so I'm gonna open up the ghost Reddit thread. Give me 1 second. And I won't be on for that long. I mean, I'm gonna be on for a while for right now, but not like I normally would be, only because I'm gonna be going to see a movie. Okay. So holy picture. Does anyone, okay, I don't know. If I see somebody on my YouTube live, if you see the image, let me know what you see. I don't see much, but we can take a look at it later. Okay, scrolling. There's videos. Okay, so this one's called I Had an Experience 2 years ago that makes me still think about it. All right, so this happens 2 years ago when I lived with my stepdad. I was trying to make it short. I'll try to make this short. The day was awful. I had headaches and had a weird feeling in my stomach. It was around 2 p.m. when I shine alone. I think they meant when I was alone. And I hear footsteps. They were very heavy as hell, as if my stepdad would walk up the stairs, but I was alone at the moment. I got scared and I lay in my bed for 10 minutes past. And when I hear the door swing open and shut, it's always locked, by the way, because we don't use that room. I can't remember much, but it was like 10 p.m. when I would get to my bed and my stepdad talked to me. I legit started shaking of fear because in every corner I could see eyes who looked me straight in my soul. The scariest part is my stepdad was chill and I asked him if he saw it too, and he said in a calm voice, yes. If like he knew something was in the house. Myself and my mom moved about a year and a half later, and I still have some weird feelings if I think about it. Sorry, guys, that was a hard one. The movie scene. Yes, the movie scene with the nurse. Ah! Oh gosh. See, Kim always gives me good idea, like movies. I'm like, man, I should be watching this. This is my movie night list. Okay. I'm gonna up that. It was kind of hard to read though. Okay. Going through. Okay, this is a good one. Okay, are you guys ready for it? And if you are on my YouTube, you can see it. Okay, so have you ever walked into something invisible? Okay, I know how this sounds, but this is a very serious question. About 15 years ago, I was getting ready for bed and I'm turning off all the lights one by one. The light in my bedroom was on, so I was turning off all other lights and going into my room. I picked up my cat like a baby and turned off the last light in the living room. It was a straight shot to my bedroom with nothing obstructing the way. So as I'm passing my couch with my cat in my arms, I bounced off something that wasn't there. Like literally, imagine someone walking directly into a wall, but the wall is invisible. And you know what's even stranger? The moment I collided with whatever it was, I got a rushing wave of heat all throughout my body. It started from like my toes to my head, and then immediately an ice cold chill from the top of my head all the way down to my toes. My cat reacted with a long, stressed sounding meow, indicating that he sensed something that was off too. I have never had this happen again since, and I was just wondering if anyone else out there had something similar happen. I mean, it scared me so much that I slept with the lights on for the better part of the 2 weeks. This is another edit for the post. Thanks to everyone for commenting. I wasn't expecting such a big response. I've never been able to talk with anyone else who had a similar experience. So, to those who doubt it, no hard feelings, but I don't think I would ever believe it either until, of course, it happened to me. I was sober, not really sleepy. It was around 9 to 10 p.m., and I had to work the next day. It was a very typical day for me. In the moments this happened, I did not want to investigate more than just turning on the lights. I was alone, and it was deeply unsettling and made no sense, so my only instinct was to back away. I moved some furniture aside and walked around the space towards my room. I really appreciate all the personal experiences shared. It's slightly comforting to know others have gone through something similar. Thank you very much. Okay, first, before we read the comments, can I just say what came to my mind? So I know this might be a little bit out there, but hey, I've read these stories. I did a video on it. Have you guys heard of the Glimmer Man? The Glimmer Man? I almost like choked on my spit as I said that because it makes me a little bit unnervous. So, okay, if you don't know the Glimmer Man is okay, think of like Predator, the movie Predator. You know how like they can be invisible? So basically, no one knows, well, I mean, from what I remember reading, no one knows exactly what the Glimmer Man is, but apparently the lore around it is that he can turn it. Oh my God, as my motion thing comes off, that made me freak out. I can't even see what's causing my ring light or my ring motion to go off. Okay, so the Glimmer Man is invisible. People have said there's this one creepy story I read on Reddit that this guy was sleeping and he heard, yes, camouflage. He was sleeping in the middle of the night and is like, I think his girlfriend or his wife was sleeping on the same bed as him, and he like felt like something was watching them, and he could see like the silhouette of a person, and as he like turned the lights on and everything, it just like disappeared. But then like, where was it? I think it was like something with the reflection in the mirror that he noticed that there was something there, like in a camouflage, like invisible camouflage. Some people have also claimed to have seen the Glimmer Man through like Apple Maps or like Google Maps, with like yellow eyes and stuff. I don't know, but that's what it made me think of, like the Glimmer Man just like watching people in your home, and you would never know because it's invisible. And yet, the only way you would know is if you run straight through it and you feel like there's a wall there, and that was like a symptom or a thing of the Glimmer Man. I don't know. It is creepy though, because like the idea that someone's in your house, you can't see it, but you run into it, and it's just like looking at you with like yellow eyes, and then woman is just gone, but it's there. I don't know. It is creepy. Uh, okay, let's see what the comments say. Okay, so someone says, Yes, I have ran into something invisible. We lived for a short time in a house that always had a very weird vibe. One night, I was walking across the house and I turned around because I was going back to pick something that I had remembered. I had taken like two steps around get after get yeah, sorry. I had taken two steps after getting turned around, just enough to be facing totally forward when boom, it was like I ran into a wall of energy. I physically bounced backwards like I had run into a wall and saw a darkness in the dark that just dissipated. The house was right next to a major power line, so I always figured that the energy had something to do with the weird vibe. Mm. Oh no, you don't have to send me anything. Thank you though. Okay. Then someone says, interesting. It sounds like your experience was very similar, but I didn't see anything. It always creeped me out that I could not see anything at all. I live in Jacksonville, Florida. Interesting. Okay, so this other person, Secret Hunter, says, I have not, but a friend did. She is a realtor and was doing a pre-showing walkthrough on an empty house. It was well restored from an older home from the 1920s in broad daylight. She was walking down a hallway and walked into what she described as an invisible rubber wall. As she stepped into it, the wall yielded a bit and she stepped back. She stepped forward again and met the same resistance. She couldn't see beyond this she could see beyond this point down the hall, and the wall seemed to feel warm. She then reached out to touch the wall and it was gone. She walked past the point, then with no trouble, she showed the house several times and never ran into it again. Oh my god, you guys, what if this is like the Glimmer Man? The Glimmer Man? I swear it has to be. Oh gosh. I would love to go live with you, Brianna. I just can't today because I have a very short live, but maybe when I have a normal live where I'm gonna be here longer. And then someone says she was so brave to immediately attempt to go through a wall. Exactly. Like if I ran into something and I bounced back, would I try again? Absolutely not. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I would be like, something's off here. I'm leaving. Chill. I'm leaving. I don't know. Oh no, you don't have to send me anything. Thank you though. I love Wonder Woman. No, she could totally take me down. um, all right. So someone said, no, I was concerned to say the least. I felt like someone's chest, a brick like I work out constantly chest. So I felt like a chest pectoral shape. 2 years, I can still tell you. I still can't tell you what it was. Now it's something lesser. It feels like I kicked something as I got up, or my wife jumped because she swears she stepped on someone's foot. Guys, it's freaky, but we have to do a whole Glimmer Man thing. Let me see if I can find another Glimmer, let me see if I can, read you the Glimmer Man stuff. The Glimmer Man. Okay. I found this thread about the Glimmer Man. Sorry, my internet is being slow. Kim says, I was washing dishes and I saw a shadow of my mom. It was like she was peeking from the living room. Oh my gosh. Where was your mom? That's so creepy. How did you handle it? Were you just like, oh, it's just a shadow? Oh my god. Yeah. You looked around, you're like, oh. Oh man, you're brave for doing that. I would feel like someone needs to come with me to check around the house. Could I don't know. You're the only one there. You're so brave. You are so brave. Okay, so this doesn't have anything. But there is, okay, so there's like a whole there's a whole thread of the Glimmer Man. It says counts a Glimmer Man or Predator. And no, it's not the movie. Yeah, so yeah, I found the Glimmer Man. Okay, here's what they were saying. Let me see if I can share this tab instead. Okay. So I'm sharing the tab here on the YouTube side. So if you can see it, you can. It's on the Backwoods Creepy thread. So it says a parking interview says, I'm really interested to know if anyone in this group has had any experiences with the supposed Glimmer Man in the woods, parks, and in their backyard, or even in their home. If you don't know what it is, it's basically a camouflaged, translucent humanoid type creature thing that lives in the woods. Living in South Georgia, I've heard a handful of stories from locals and people living in North Florida that describe encounters with beings like this. Some are just sightings and others are much more up close and personal. I thought maybe it was just like the Southern Georgia, Florida thing until I started looking into it online. And while there's not much information out there, it's definitely like not popular like Bigfoot by any means. It seems that people from all over America have seen them. I'd really love to hear of any encounters or possible encounters with these beings. I find it very fascinating. I'm also fairly certain that I caught a picture of one in my backyard last spring. And they posted a picture in the Glimmerman sub. Oh wow. Okay, she passed. I'm sorry to hear that. Yes, I don't know. Yeah, I'm so sorry to, but it was just you're brave for looking though. Like, did you do any affirmations from the full moon the other night? I had been doing, like, my manifestation journal up until that point, um, and I did a collaboration today with, a friend of mine that I've met on TikTok. I was actually following her for a while, and then we became mutuals. Her name is Pythion Priestess. She's definitely, like, into the occult. She has her own practice, and she's so knowledgeable in a lot of things. So today she did come over and we did a mocktail money spell. So like the idea is that there's food and the things that you drink, like we talked about water and like how water is a great manifestation source, but in general food has like it's ruled by planets and energy and all the stuff, and I can't wait to share that because if you are really interested in like manifestation or just like quick drinks that you can make to bring things into fruition, I think you'll like it. So yeah, I edit some of it already now, but I'll be doing more of those. So yeah, the 2 cup method. Yes, the 2 cup method. Okay. So, oh no, thank you. Maybe next time. Thank you, JKS. Okay. So someone says missing 411 haunted has the best case I've heard from Ohio. Wife of a Bruce UFOologist and optical scientist. She got zapped in her tree stand, even snapped a photo with which her husband explained was taken at a setting the camera isn't able to facilitate. Edit, just prior to this experience, the nearby high school marching band was practicing to witness a UFO, so there's that too. Do a backflip. Hi, username. I can't. The aliens are holding me down. um, so okay, you know what's interesting about this post, and I can get totally down the rabbit hole in this. There's a book, and I think you can read like a sample of it on like Amazon Kindle or something like that. But you can buy the ebook, and it's literally called like Schoolyard UFO Schoolyard Sightings or something like that. Or even if you just type that in, you'll pop up. But it's literally like a catalog of UFOs being sighted over schools from like around the world since like the 1950s and even prior to that and even till the present. And I think that's really fascinating given like today's current status with like the UFO congressional hearing. And I really think it's interesting that that is the thing. And there's this book that has been around with all of these sightings and all of these like recordings of things. And yeah, maybe I should revisit that. Maybe I should revisit like that footage on there because it is again, like I know that there's like this all of these theories and thoughts and opinions on the UFO congressional the US congressional hearing, and meanwhile there's these things like okay, people were saying that maybe this is all just like a military thing, right? And even if that's the case and it's not like green men in the sky or whatever, it's still interesting and the point still stands. What are they not telling people? And like there's literally a book like of dates and where you can find people witnessing not just one or two, three people, like literally like hundreds of children witnessing a UFO spacecraft hovering at like their school grounds. Like people are like these children are playing like they were like literally there for like recess, like they're playing in the playground and like this UFO appears and then people show up and question the children and all this stuff. It's interesting. Oh no, JKS, thank you so much. No worries. No worries. Thank you for the follow. So yeah, I don't know. It's just yeah. Okay. So this is what this person said. What is interesting to me about that is that, and this is a year ago, by the way, this whole thing is from a year ago. It was an event in three stages and three components. The UAP over the football stadium witnessed by their son, the thing in the trees witnessed by her, and it zapped her awareness. Then the husband, who just happens to be a legit optical scientist, left with proof. The proof isn't the image itself. I mean, who cares about that? The proof is the resolution of that image from the wife's camera phone. The image is in a resolution and scale that the camera can't achieve. Oh, I think they're trying to debunk whatever. I don't even know what they're talking about. Part of me is like, should I look it up? What is this? So, okay, now I'll just kind of segue into something else. Okay, so someone beneficial gate says, I live in North Bend, Washington. Been here my whole life. It's a very beautiful area, part of the Sano I can't say that. So I'm just going to say Mount Baker National Forest. I've been experiencing these things for about 15 years. I'm 29 now. When I was 18 and first started to experience them, it was quite horrible to say the least. That stalked and tormented my friends and me and myself with their presence still to this day. I have encounters, and still to this day, I'm baffled by what in the world it is because I can tell you one thing: no human being can move that silently through the bush and quickly and somehow maintain communication with one another the way they do. I don't care how good your military ops stealth ninja skills are. This It's unhuman, period. Also can confirm they feed off your fear in the sense that when you ignore them, they don't fuck with you like they do when they know they got you tripping. That being said, they have only on a few occasions ever attempted or succeeded in casually causing harm. It's always been more of a mental experience and honestly goes hand in hand with the um, events with target individuals. Interesting. So this person believes, hi, Alvin. Hi, how are you? Um, so this person believes that the Glimmerman targets people. Interesting. That's very interesting. Um, okay, what is this? Let's see if I can share. There's something in the woods. Okay. Well, this was from a year ago. If you're on my YouTube, you can see what I'm zooming in on. Okay, so this is called "There's Something in the Woods." So I had previously posted a story with my wife's account a couple of days ago in the Bigfoot. I should just like be bookmarking all of these Reddit threads, to be honest. Um, I didn't know what we had seen, and it wasn't until someone replied with, I feel free to post in the backwoods creepy thread. Now, this caught me off guard as I had never heard of the Glimmerman, Wendigo, Crawler, whatever you want to call it before. Now, I haven't read too much into this topic as I have a lot going on, but I realized that this ties in with just about everything that has happened since we moved in a year ago. I'm going to start with the seemingly unrelated incidents that have led up to this most recent eye-opening experience. About a year ago, I moved with my family and I to a home way out into the woods in Tennessee. Guys, I could never live out in the country. Good for the people that do. This is just not in the story. I'm just reading this. Now I'm going back into the story. Um, so I want to be brief here, but I need to get this off my chest. And after looking into this matter a little bit more, I have a lot more details that I think will paint a clear picture in the end. So please bear with me. The nights here can be extremely loud, and between the crickets, the tree frogs, and the cicadas, it can almost be deafening. One night, not too long after we had moved in, I had forgotten something in my car and headed outside to get it. The first thing that struck me as odd was that my dog wouldn't go outside with me. My dog goes everywhere with me. So as I'm like her whole world. But not this night. As I held the door open, she looked out and then looked up at me like, nope. So I walked out and shut the door behind me. The second thing that caught me off guard was that there was there was not a peep. It was like very dead silent. And I still shrugged this off and walked down my front steps and headed down to my car. When I had gotten about 10 feet from the car, the hairs on the back of my neck just stood up. I felt as though something was watching me. I looked around but saw nothing. After I reached my car for what I had forgotten to grab earlier, I had this feeling like something was moving towards me. I took a step back and checked around me, and all of a sudden, I heard one of my hedges next to me. They line around the walkway to the front, and it's like a door rattle. At first, I thought it was a rabbit that I had spooked, as I had seen one just earlier in the day, right where this was. And a few seconds later, I heard the sound of a large rock about the size of like a cantaloupe landing a few feet away from me. It hit the walkway and it bounced into a shrub. I drew my gun and called out and said, "Whoever that was, it's about to be shot." And after a few seconds of nothing, I began to think that maybe this was like some local teenagers messing with me, messing with the new people. So I holstered my side arm, turned and started walking back to my front door. Almost as soon as I turned towards my house, I heard this deep panting sound. It sounded like a huge dog, but what made me nope back to my front door was that it sounded like it was right behind me. I leaped up into my porch, turned, and drew my gun again, expecting something right there. But again, there was nothing. Hey, homies, time for a hydration break. All the homies did. Oh, thank you. Same. I love hearing scary stories in the woods, but then it makes me not want to go out to the woods. And I used to love doing all that. Okay. So, all right. So, what? Okay. A couple weeks later, I was on my porch at night, sitting on my bench with my wife. She got up and walked inside to get something. And as soon as she shut the door, I heard the panting sound again. Now, I couldn't see anything, yet this sounded like it was like right on top of me. The sound was coming from everywhere and it was very loud. Again, I couldn't see anything, so I noped it back inside my house. Now, at this point, I was questioning moving here, but after nothing else really happening, I let it go. I listening um a month or so later, it was really rainy and stormy night, and this is around 9 p.m. My wife and I enjoy listening to the rain and talking about how relaxing the rain is. So, me growing up in Oregon, um, I loved the rain, and for the past 10 years, we lived in Vegas where it would dump the entire year of rain in a day, then be bone dry for the rest of the year. My wife and I grew up in Nevada. Well, my wife grew up in Nevada. But it was a really rare thing. She loved going outside and watching the rain. So for us, this is a very enjoyable experience. Except this night in particular, things took a very weird turn. As we were sitting there talking about the rain and relaxing, my wife stopped me and said, "Did you hear that?" I said, "No, what did you hear?" She said, "I swear it sounded like a small child calling for help out in the woods besides our house." I said, "No, I didn't hear anything." After a few moments of us listening intently, she said, "There it is again." I said, "I didn't hear anything, sweetie. Are you sure you're not just hearing things?" She looked at me very offended. Um, that I didn't because I didn't hear it. "No, I'm positive. How could you not hear that? It was our son. I think he's out there. He got lost." I said, "No, he's in the house sleeping on the couch." We then both looked through the blinds that were open right behind us, and we could see all of our children laying there. She said, "That's so weird. I swear it sounds like our son." Well, it isn't him. He's right there. Besides, I don't hear anything. She then stands up and says, "Wow, he's really crying out for help. I need to go look for him." Now, at this point, if you knew my wife, you would know she is absolutely creeped out by the woods and would not be caught dead walking into them during the daylight, much less a night during a storm. I grabbed her hand and said, "I've been listening intently, and there is absolutely nobody calling for help. You need to stay here." At this point, I'm getting worried about her. She's acting completely out of character, not to mention that this time she's 8 months pregnant with our baby daughter. She then says, "What if there's some child out there lost in the woods?" Um, yeah. And then I said, "Well, first off, I would be able to hear them. Secondly, there are no other kids around here for miles, and the odds of them being lost 100 feet from our house that's lit up like a Christmas tree is like no." She then says, "I know, but what if it's a kid?" And before I could say anything else, she stands up and starts walking towards the stairs. I jumped up, grabbed her again, and said, "No, you're going to get in the house. I don't know what's going on, but you need to get inside." She then compiles and we both go inside. Or she then complies and then we go inside. I didn't know what this was, but it freaked me out. A few moments after this is just as it's getting dark outside, I heard the front door to our house open and I get up to investigate. We have autistic 6-year-old twins and we have the door set up so they can't open it without us there. So to hear the sound is completely it could be like my wife. What was weird was that the fact that she usually doesn't go outside without saying something to me. I walked out front and saw my wife walking down our private road towards a drive on the side of our house. And I asked her what she was doing, and she said she was sitting on the back patio and kept hearing a baby crying. I said, seriously? You decided to walk into the woods to investigate? She then looks out into the woods and says, see, there it is again. I can't hear anything, but what I did notice is that it's completely silent again. I told her, just like before, the chances of a baby being out there just are very slim and she need to get back in the house. Then she said, what if someone left a baby out there? I said, well, if that's true, I would hear it too. Now, at this point, I was really starting to worry about my wife's mental health. I actually asked her to see a psychiatrist, and she did. Now, looking back, I feel really bad about this, knowing what I now know. A key to this moment was that my wife had given birth to a baby girl just a month before. Um, Wait, what happened? Okay. All right. So, well, how is that funny? That's not funny. They're sharing something serious. Okay, a few days after this, we are out on the front porch and it's early evening and I had just mowed the lawn this day. And our 3-year-old son was riding around on his little car in front of the house. Now he knows that he's not allowed outside of a certain area that we mapped off. He loves playing outside, but with the road being 50 feet behind our porch, we have to be careful as a lot of boaters will fly through after drinking all day on their boats. So as we're talking, we both keep an eye on him. A neighbor drives by and stops to say hi for a second. Now, this interaction took approximately like 8 seconds. As they said, as they all they said was, how are things? We said good, and he told us, and we'll stop by later. Okay, so well, let's see. Moving on. All right, so I looked over where our son was, and he was gone. I called out his name and ran over to the side of the house and could hear his car on the side. Yeah, that person's being mean. I'm not doing with that. Don't that's not funny. Don't do that. We don't do that here. Um so I scolded him for leaving the area and he said something is 3-year-old gibberish and pointed to the woods behind our house. I said he had 5 seconds to get up to the front of the house or else. He adamantly pointed back in the direction of the woods like I'm trying to tell me something. Okay, I'm not dealing with that. Um, okay, I looked off in the direction of the woods and just assumed he saw a deer or a squirrel or something and wanted to see it up close. I walked him back to the front of the house and he cried for the whole way up there. He got really upset and I wouldn't let him go into the woods. Okay, I'm gonna try to like, oh my god, this is a very long story. Um, because I have to get going, you guys, and I feel so bad because like there's so much more to the story. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pause it here. I'm so sorry, you guys. But if you're on my YouTube, I'm gonna end it with the screenshot of it here. Hopefully, you guys can see it. It's called "There's Something in the Woods," and it is by Angry Mama Bear. I feel so bad I have to stop. But I have to get going, you guys. Just know it's getting good. I'm gonna bookmark it though, so that way when I go live next time, we'll have it there. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for joining my live. Oh, hi, Phil. I know. I feel so bad because it's so good. But clearly there's a lot of incidents. So I'm just gonna bookmark it. If you're on my YouTube, you can see where I was reading from. And if not, no worries, but I feel so bad we have to stop this. I have to go see the movie. Bye guys so much. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate you guys. Shout out to my YouTube peeps. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for joining me over there. Thank you guys also on the TikTok side. Bye.